I am Kalan Haywood, Kalanhaywood. I am the state representative-elect for the 16th Assembly District, but also have the honor of being the past immediate Youth Council president. For those that don't know, the City of Milwaukee Youth Council is a group of diverse young people who meet twice a month to talk about issues that the young people face in the city and try to come up with solutions and be an advocate and a voice for young people at the city. This month of August, the headlines have been pretty crazy. We've all been seeing them and it's been making our stomachs hurt. In the month of August, we've had 19 murders in 31 days. When I was doing work earlier today, I tried to do the math on that and figure out how many murders that was per day. So it came to about 1.5 murders a day. And that's troubling. When you look at the people getting murdered, it's also young people. Getting killed and blood being shed in places that we go every day that we think are safe havens, and we're trying to be peaceful. So everyone in the city has come together today to try to figure out what can we do. We have to mobilize and act upon what's going on. We have to stop. The headlines have to stop. So I'm very proud to stand before our City of Milwaukee Youth Council today as they unveil their plan and their call to action about creating a safer city for all of us. Young, old, black, white, we have to be safe. So I want to bring up Bria Smith, one of the Youth Council members, to speak before you. Thank you.
Hello everyone, my name is Bria Smith, B-R-I-A-S-M-I-T-H, and I represent the 6th District of Milwaukee, Wisconsin on the Milwaukee Youth Council. I'm a 17-year-old rising senior and a 10-year Milwaukee native in the Harambe neighborhood. I am here today with my Milwaukee Youth Council fellows because we fear for our lives. We fear for the safety of our communities. And like Halen was saying, 19 deaths in 31 days is outrageous, and we need to take address to this issue. I know what it's like to have witnessed violence and be in the midst of such brutality that plagues our streets. Growing up, gunshots would disrupt the peace, and families would return home feeling completely and negatively hopeless. Feeling as if our voices are considered weak and inferior, that we have to accept the unjustly reality of the skin that we are clothed in, the zip code that we reside in, and the oppression that confines us. But as youth, we are not hopeless anymore. Many stories of gun violence goes untold. People of color who are living in inner cities, impoverished communities, and violent neighborhoods are not given the platform to speak about the injustices that they intensely suffer. We are confined within these racially oppressive boxes, chained to this cycle of violence, affected by the distribution of illegal firearms and the easy accessibility it is to these weapons. Conditioning our youth to believe that violence is okay continues this cycle of perpetuated destruction. The violence that is experienced on a day-by-day spectrum does not define our communities, but the actions that we take, reduce, and destroy it does. We need to defy the narrative that normalizes us to become subject to this cruelty. Vigils for 17-year-old boys who are struck by a bullet, pictures of young children taped to lampposts and trees, yellow caution tapes surrounding our neighborhood parks, and the cries of mothers that media has overlooked. As a community, we need to address the disparity of gun violence, how it affects each and every individual residing within Milwaukee. The topic and discussion of gun violence isn't a political issue to be labeled Democratic or Republican. Gun violence is a human rights issue, for a bullet sees no color and nor does it discriminate. Together, we can be the change that we want to see. We can destroy the normalization of inner city gun violence and promote positive affirmations. A generation that has no history has no future, so we cannot continue the violence and address the issue as a Milwaukee Youth Council and any other nonprofit organization out there listening to this press conference. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Joya Headley, Joyaheadley, and I represent the 15th District. I want to point out that when we speak of building trust in our communities, we must acknowledge that the key to communal connection is the spiritual, mental, and moral investment in our youth. The common saying goes, it takes a village to raise a child. And without unity in our village, what is the destiny of that child? When we want to break the cycles of gun violence and overall mental contagiousness in our communities, we must first change within ourselves, and once we do so, we must come together. Once we achieve self and communal unity, we must then invest our energy into the nurturing and upbringing of our youth. Studies show that the biggest victims of gun trauma is our youth. Now, in order for us to break these cycles of trauma, protecting our youth should be and must be the priority. When our physical selves leave this earth, our community's well-being is left to the generations after us. We must ensure that these generations are in good mental and physical health so that they can carry this heavy load. And that starts with us as a people. With our disunity and fighting amongst each other in our communities, and the witnessing of our youth of the such, what good are we doing to break these cycles, especially the cycles of violence? The future is in the hands of us, the youth, and the youth that will be after us. And it is our duty as a community to unite and prepare them for that better future. Destruction of our community is the destruction of the child, and destruction of the child is the destruction of our future. So I and the Milwaukee Youth Council cannot stress the importance of unity to break the cycles of violence and trauma in our community. The future lies in your hands, the future lies in our hands.
Hello, my name is Erica Lofton, E-R-I-C-A-L-O-F-T-O-N, and I represent the 2nd District on the Milwaukee Youth Council. When together, we are strong, but when singular, we are weak. During one of my visits to Washington, D.C., I had the pleasure of meeting Mr. Mark Barden. His son was shot and killed at Sandy Hook. My conversation with him helped me to take a bird's eye view on gun violence. I've seen how beautiful our community can be when we work together and trust one another. A few years ago, I got to witness this beauty with our campaign, #ViolencePreventionMKE. In this campaign, people took pledges not to commit violence, but to speak out against it. It was an amazing sight to see so many people so happy to take this pledge together. Once the community realizes the strength that we have together, the possibilities are endless to the change we can make together. But this all has to start with trusting our community members. This starts with seeking to understand as opposed to be understood. This starts with having simple conversations with the people on your block, with the members in your church, with the people in your community, in your schools, and in the members in your family, and also legislators. Because together, we are strong. So, I'm calling out for a call to action for the City of Milwaukee for the Labor Day weekend. My call to action is to have a ceasefire so our community can be safe, so our youth can be safe. We need to stick together. Thank you.
Reggie Moore, R-E-G-G-I-E-M-O-O-R-E, Director, City of Milwaukee, Office of Violence Prevention. I will be brief. We are honored to stand here in support of the City of Milwaukee Youth Council. A year ago, we engaged and partnered with the Youth Council in surveying young people throughout the city as we developed a blueprint for peace. Many residents in this city contributed and identified 6 goals and 30 strategies to prevent and reduce violence in Milwaukee. And so we are encouraged and we love the support and the leadership of young people in our city to believe that we can reduce gun violence. But we have to do that by investing in opportunity, we have to do that by investing in youth employment, and we have to do that to ensuring that every neighborhood in this city has the resources that are needed to make it safe and sustainable. This banner that's hanging up here that says we can end gun violence was actually put up during Wear Orange Day, which was in honor of gun violence survivors throughout the country. And so, as was stated earlier, vigils and memorials should not be the norm for homicide in our city. We should have parks that are revitalized. We should have after-school programs that are open. That should be the norm in our city. And so that's what the blueprint calls for, and that's what we're committed to. And we're honored to stand in support of the Youth Council. Thank you.
Now, before I bring up the president of this dynamic group of young people, we have the media here. And the reputation for the media around this city is that the media only covers the bad things. Well, this is a very positive thing. These young people are a leading force in changing the narrative of what young people are about, what young people stand for. So I want to make a call to action, my own call to action to my peers. I'm 19 years old, so I get everything that we're going through. But when we look at history and the movements that have happened and the changes that have been made, it's been young people to do it. So to my peers, the ones out here every single day facing these challenges, be the change. Be agents of change. Engage your peers, and we're going to make it happen. But now I'd like to bring up the president of the City of Milwaukee Youth Council.
Good afternoon. My name is Imani Gambrell Tolliver, the president and the 3rd District representative of the Milwaukee Youth Council. I would first like to say that thank you guys for all coming. Thanks for coming out. I know I was running a little late, and I would like to thank Kaylin Haywood for starting this press conference for me. I personally feel that this is a strong conversation for me because everybody who's in homicides, getting killed, or whether they were the victims or the families or something, they're young and they're closer to our age. And I feel that this is our time to stand for people who don't know how to get connected, who don't have a voice. We are the voice for our youth. So I would like to say that any youth who's watching, if you ever have a problem, if you ever feel that you want to go out and do something crazy, like you need to talk to somebody, we are here to help you. Our Facebook page is the City of Milwaukee Youth Council. We have a Twitter, the City of Milwaukee Youth Council, and we all have personal Facebook pages. We don't mind talking to people. We just want to stop the crimes and everything that's going on. Thank you. Are there any questions?
Are there any plans for this weekend?
Do anybody have?
We're issuing a ceasefire, so if you see violence in your community, please tell them that you do not want to resort to a firearm.
This press conference don't start here. We're just letting you guys know that after this, we will be having events. We will be going out trying to stop everything that's going on.
What is the role of the war on drugs in the violence and crime and that's going on in Milwaukee right now?
Can you repeat that?
What is the role of the war on drugs? How is the war on drugs impacting the level of violence in the community right now?
I don't.
When you flood drugs into the community, a lot of people are losing money. When drugs are flooded into the community, a lot of people do resort to crime. And that's one of the biggest issues because we were criminalized due to the war on drugs. That's one of the biggest ways that our community was criminalized. And that's one of the biggest reasons of mass incarceration. And all of that ties together, especially with violence in our community. So that's.
Any other questions? Once again, I would like to thank everybody who came out today, and I would like you guys to follow our social media because this, like I said, this doesn't stop here. We will be coming back with more activities, with more press conferences and meetings for other youth to help and get involved. Thank you.